Welcome everyone to Module 9 of the course. In Module 9, we're going to be looking at the concept of aggregate expenditures. When we look at aggregate expenditures, it's going to be focused on the four components of GDP, which is consumption, investment, net exports, and government spending. The key component of aggregate expenditures is looking at total spending in our economy and how those components will influence a lot of the decisions that are made. And it will influence economic growth as such. So for this week, I want you to focus on the role of reading chapter 12 and relating the concepts and some of the key concepts that we're going to be looking at. Not a lot of calculations that I'm going to focus on in the quiz, but on the book you're going to see a lot of calculations. But I'm not going to focus on the actual calculation more than what is the result of what you're looking at. For this week, you're going to have to complete quiz number 7. And when you take quiz number 7, you're going to have 20 multiple choice questions, 60 minutes, and 1 attempt. So make sure to focus on that 1 attempt to really do well. And if you have any questions, let me know. But let's go over the quiz now. Questions that you might see: a rightward shift of the investment demand curve. Question 2, classical economists held the view about the economy looking at unemployment. Question 3, if the real interest rate falls, what does that mean with regard to the investment schedule? Will it shift upward or downward? Question 4, in a recessionary expenditure gap, the equilibrium level of real GDP is more or less than the full employment GDP. Question 5, if we have an inflationary gap, the equilibrium level of GDP will be greater or less than the full employment GDP. Question 6, what does it mean when net exports are negative? And then question 7, what does it mean when net exports are positive? Question 8 is looking at the investment demand curve and how it relates planned investment spending to real interest rates and GDP. Question 9 is looking at the investment schedule and what that's relating. Question 10 is looking at what will most likely cause a decrease in economy's exports with regard to the currency fluctuations. Question 11 looks at classical economists and what is their view about being involved in the economy. Question 12 looks at if GDP exceeds total spending, what will happen to savings and investment? Question 13 is looking at real interest rates and how that affects investment schedule. Question 14 is looking at leakages. How does that influence taxes, savings, and imports? Questions 16 and 17 are dealing with net exports. Question 17 is looking at the equation for an open mixed economy. Question 18 is looking at the investment demand schedule. So those are some of the questions that you're going to see this week. And if you have any concerns, just let me know, but I look forward to your